And from Lagos, everyone, I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and this is Beyond 100 Days. Tonight, we're tackling the latest security developments in the country. Breaking news from Kaduna State, where the Nigerian Air Force has now confirmed the crash today in a Gabi local government area involved an unarmed aerial vehicle and not a helicopter. According to Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet, the drone experienced a mishap shortly after takeoff on a mission near Rumji village, about 15 kilometers from base. Thankfully, since it was an unmanned vehicle, we're told there were no casualties reported. An investigation, according to the Air Force, is already underway to determine the cause of the crash. We'd like to hear from you, our viewers. You can join the conversation right now on social media using hashtag Beyond 100 Days, specifically on X. Remember to tag at TVC News On and at Nifemi Oguntoye. Share your thoughts, ask your questions. Let's get the conversation started. Joining me right now is the Air Force spokesman himself, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet. Thank you for joining us on the show this hour. Let's dive right in. I'm wondering just how big is this drone for it to have been earlier on reported as a helicopter?
Thank you so much for having me on your program. Honestly, when the report first came out that it was a helicopter, it surprised those of us that are familiar with how drones really look like. It's nowhere close to the size of a helicopter, and that was why we were very shocked with the initial reporting. Drones are what modern warfare is beginning to realize are critical, to how wars are being fought today. Of course, you are seeing what is happening in the Middle East. You are seeing how they've been deployed in the Russian-Ukrainian war. And it's no different from what we are also doing. So they are actually very manageable equipments in terms of size. And very, very effective, of course. So in this case, it was just a normal drone-sized platform that was just out for usual military operations, and then unfortunately we had this incident. Like I said in some interviews I gave earlier on, this drone wasn't the only drone that took off for this particular operation. There were other drones that also left around the same time, but unfortunately this particular drone, clearly we are suspecting some mechanical faults, and then of course the pilots lost contact with it, and then later we found it about 15 kilometers away from the base. So we are looking at what really happened, but that's very, very important to us, so that we see whether there are some gaps or whether there are some failures from the manufacturer's side, so that we really ascertain the situation and make sure it doesn't affect some of the remaining drones that we have. Because, like I said, they are the major game changers in what we are seeing.
Allow me to jump in quickly, Air Vice Marshal. Can you confirm or rule out the possibility that the UAV was shot down by enemy fire? There have been previous reports in Kaduna where aircrafts have been attacked by hostile forces.
Yeah. From the report, we've told you it crashed just about 15 kilometers from the Air Force base, whereas, it's still within, a decent human living environment. So the issue of being shot down by any terrorists people should not even go there. We're still within a very, very safe environment. So we're very certain it had nothing to do with any criminal or any terrorist shooting it down. Absolutely. Because the way the drone operates, you can even see it in flight. So it wasn't as if it was hit by any projectile or any missile, or anything. It was just a mechanical fault. And like I said, it wasn't the only one that took off. So was it that only one drone was shot down? So that is not even an issue for discussion. Yeah. So it was just a situation that we feel likely is a mechanical situation that we are still trying to ascertain.
How precisely does this incident impact on ongoing Air Force operations in Kaduna, particularly in light of the recent surge in terrorist activity in that area?
Well, I don't think I will agree with you with regards to the issue of a surge in terrorist activities. Yesterday, I watched Comrade Sani Shehu, right? Sani Shehu, yes, it was on channels analyzing the security situation in Kaduna, and he really came out and hit the nail on the head and stated that there has been a serious decline, in the level of insecurity in Kaduna State. And of course, the drones played a very, very major role in ensuring that people feel a sense of security around where they reside. Recall what used to happen last year, especially where kidnappings were the orders of the day, where Abuja to Kaduna road was very, very unsafe for people to fly. These things they are not what we are seeing these days. There has been, if we are to be very sincere with ourselves, there has been an improvement in the level of security in Kaduna State and environment. What we are seeing most of these days are terrorists really moving away from parts of the northwest, especially Zamfara and Katsina, and heading towards the forest in Niger State. But of course, even with that kind of movement, we are tailing them and we are hitting them appropriately. About 3 or 4 days ago, I'm sure you saw my press release yesterday, where we took out over 20 of them somewhere around Munya local government in Niger State. And these are operations that are continuing from time to time,
All right.
So we are very confident in the efforts we are making. I think to a large extent, we are recording some very good successes here and there.
How does the Nigerian Air Force's safety record compete or compare to international standards? There are questions about if there are now plans to invest in advanced UAV technologies and safety measures. Some have mentioned autonomous emergency landing systems or cyber-secure data links to minimize the risk of future incidents. Perhaps you can intimate it with what we currently have and if there's room for improvement.
Honestly, if you had to compare our records to international standards with regards to air crashes, you will see that we have done very, very well. We're in a better place than even those countries that you think are much more advanced. Go and check the records. The United States of America, how many aircraft have crashed this year alone? We're in July. I can tell you that over 15 to 20 aircrafts have crashed, military aircrafts have crashed. Whether in the United States or outside, but military aircrafts involved in one operations or trainings. So if you are to compare our records with what we are seeing overseas in air forces that are very agile and active, I think we're in a good place. And we have a Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who is very, very, very safety conscious. Recall that before he became the Chief of Air Staff, he was the Chief of Standards and Evaluation. And that is the branch that caters for enhancing safety measures in the Nigerian Air Force. He has ensured that safety comes first to anything. In fact, in the Air Force, there's what we call, there is no must-go mission. You mustn't go for that mission if safety, the slightest level of safety is to be compromised. You mustn't go for that mission. You wait for another day and take on this enemy. So we are very careful. We have imbibed so many other measures. We've opened a school of safety in Oshobo that all our engineers, all our pilots must go there on a yearly basis to learn new techniques on how to enhance their safety standards. We are collaborating also with foreign air forces. The U.S. Air Force is one of the air forces we have been collaborating with on the air-to-ground integration. So there are so many measures in that respect to make sure that our pilots understand that safety is much more important.
Right.
The lives of our pilots is much more important than anything else. And of course, I think we're seeing results. That's why in the last 1 year, and I stand to be corrected, we have not had any major aircraft accidents. And of course, to a large extent, by the grace of God, we have not really lost any pilots or any engineer. And I think that speaks a lot to the measures that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar, has put in place. Yeah.
Air Force spokesman, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gakwet, thank you for talking to us on the program this evening.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
We're back with more.